Right, we're here talking bollocks. Hello, everybody. Thursday afternoon. I had to think then. All this lockdown. I know we've kind of coming out of lockdown, but oh my god, it's just merging into one big. God knows what it is, but yeah. Thursday. Thought we'd do a daytime one. Literally just got out of bed a couple of hours ago. Little bit of interaction on the Twitter sphere, as it were. Putting the feelers out. People said, "Yeah, let's do it." So here we are. Hello, Mega Geek.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am not bad today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Just just shooting the breeze, editing and stuff, doing stuff as always.
Work going well, is it?
Yeah, it's going well. I'm going to be shooting the Doctor Who trailer soon.
Oh,
Beginning of next month. Got me doctor. Actually got the TARDIS because I've been searching for that everywhere, and I contacted a person that has the Matt Smith Doctor TARDIS. So he's I sent him. He sent me the prices. I've said to him that's great, and so hopefully he'll send me another email saying that he's going to confirm that date. So it should be fun, and it remains to be seen whether anyone will respond to whether they want me to make a Doctor Who fan film. So there you go.
Well, I do, and I think our next guest might. So yeah,
It's the Matt.
Exciting news. Yes. On the bottom, here he is, Matt Pott. Hello.
Hello, bottom of the planet. Yes. Yeah. As Jerry Seinfeld once said, we are the anus of the earth. So yeah, that's where we are. So it went down really well as you'd expect.
May I ask, Matthew? Is it pot or pots?
No, it's pot.
Right.
It's a shame, really, because pots sound better.
Well, it does. Awkward bastard.
Well, I mean, if you want to go back, my great grandfather.
Here we go. Life story. Here we go. Carry on.
English. He's British. My great grandfather was from the White Cliffs of Dover.
So you've got some good going for you then, yeah?
Well, I'm also partly Indigenous too. So
can you prove it, by the way?
You don't have to here. You can just say it. You don't. You can say that you are of Aboriginal descent, and you are. You cannot be denied anything as long as you say you are Aboriginal, which I am. I'm 25%. I'm very proud of it. And
25% different, like Star Trek, yes?
Well, yes. I am 25% to the point where I can't actually get a lot of special government
discounts.
Yeah.
Have you met Neville Bell then? Have you met Neville Bell?
Who's Neville Bell?
He's the famous Aborigine that was in Crocodile Dundee, and he hates the bush. Do you remember that scene?
Oh,
in Crocodile Dundee.
God, some Australian you are.
Do you know what? Neville is a very popular name for Aboriginals.
There you go.
There used to be the Stone Aboriginal Neville.
Don't you remember that scene where he was explaining to the girl? He was saying, "Well, guys, doesn't he need a torch?" And he was like, "No, he's from the bush." He just feels his way around, and then you hear him go, "I hate the bush."
That's like Matt's after a night on the piss.
Me?
Yeah,
I don't drink.
Nor do I actually. I've never drank.
No,
I've never liked.
I take that joke back then.
We'd get along well. No, well, I drink socially, but I don't drink to the point of over excess. I don't believe in it, and it's like the same with drugs. I don't do drugs either. And
I did in a previous life, but there you go.
Well, I mean that's fine and everything, but I just don't.
Hello, viewers.
Whatever anyone else does in their own private life can do it. But I'm not going to.
I was young once, believe it or not.
I remember when I was 16, 17 and my friend said, "Oh, let's go to the pub." The first time I went to the pub and I tasted lager. I just hated it. I thought, why do people drink this? And ever since then, I've never really. I mean, I've drank a couple of times, you know, to be like a man. Yeah, I'll have a pint, you know. And
what would you know?
Suffered it. But now I just couldn't give a shit. Like when I go to the pub and they go, "What do you want?"
Gin and tonic,
I'll just go, "Give me a lemonade," or
God.
You know, or stick some lemonade in that lager.
Give
more
me a
lemonade than
lemonade.
lager. You know what I mean? I can't stand it. I can't
You're
stand
a shandy,
ale.
You're a shandy man, aren't
I'll
you?
drink shandy. Yeah, I can't stand ale. I can't stand lager. It's horrible. The taste is horrible, in my opinion, of course.
There you go, folks. You've heard it here. The Mega Geek is a shandy drinker. There you go.
Teetotaler. Yeah. But you know,
I mean, I'm Australian, so I've got to have blood in my veins. I've got to have beer in my veins, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that is an Australian thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh well, you know, everybody thinks we drink Fosters, and we don't. You know, I'm not even that, because that's a Queensland beer, and like, you know, it's like from a totally different
or
place.
something like that.
No, I mean, even like there's VB, there's lots of every state in Australia has their own beer. I mean, where I am, Tasmania, we have our own beer as well.
Devil.
So
Devil
no,
beer?
no.
Why?
No, don't get into that shit.
Well, the reason why
racism,
everybody
man. That's racism.
Well, the reason why everybody thinks that you drink Foster's is because of that huge campaign that
Hogan
did. And it was very successful. Obviously, everybody thought that it was Australia's #1 beer. So
it was like, another shrimp on the barbie.
He was massive in the 80s, wasn't he?
He was so big that they let him introduce the Oscars when his film came out. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
do you remember? Sorry, Matt. Go on.
No, he used to be a builder on the
yeah, he did
on the bridge at the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Wow.
And then because he used to do comedy of a night, and then all of a sudden he ended up on TV and just became an overnight sensation.
Yes, I was going to say the Paul Hogan show was shown over here, and
really?
I liked it. I liked it.
It's considered very sexist today, though.
Oh,
maybe we should revisit it then.
Yeah. No, I remember watching his shows for the longest time. I used to like Strop.
The guy,
the guy with the funny.
Yeah,
voice.
the guy
that used to be his agent.
There was a guy who had like those surfer kind of little hat things.
Him.
Is it him? Yeah, right. Okay.
And he used to talk funny too. But he was actually a normal guy with. He used to be his agent. So
I did not know.
I remember he was telling a story about him and the guy who directed Crocodile Dundee. He's one of his best friends. They were in a pub. So after Crocodile Dundee had been shown and it was a huge success, and he did the Oscars, they went to the pub and they were just drinking and they were just talking, and suddenly they both had the same thought where they went silent for 2 beats or 3 beats, and then they both laughed, and they were both laughing because they could not believe that the little small film they made had made such an impact in the world. They couldn't believe that they achieved that by mucking around. And they both had the same thought at that moment in time. They both just started laughing, and they couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes. So it's a pretty amazing story.
It took years for us to get over that, though.
Yeah.
Damn, it was like, everybody thinks that we all go around in crocodile hats and.
You mean you don't?
No. No.
It's a good film, though. I really like it.
It is a good film. It is a good film. My father, who's 93, if it's on TV, he'll sit down and watch it. He likes it. It's a good film. It's kind of
not correct nowadays, though. Not correct nowadays.
Yeah, it's one of these films where I've mentioned it before. Its heart is in the right place, and that's good.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, basically, it's showing a male being very, very male, and that's what Crocodile Dundee was. He was, and also he's slightly sexist. But then he learnt through the reporter girl that he fell in love with, that
had a very
he
big
needs to
knife.
tone a bit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not sexist at all, and the film still stands up as it is today as well. And it's a romance first and foremost when you watch it. With comedy, and it's a really well constructed movie.
Well, I mean, it really hit its stride when he went to New York.
When he married her.
It was like, as soon as he went there. Yeah, well, he did. He dropped his wife. His wife, of so many years.
Was it Linda Kowalski?
Well, his wife was called Nolene.
Yeah.
And, but he dropped her like a ton of bricks.
There's some really good jokes in there that you could miss them. Like there's a bit in it where they're driving in Australia, and he says, the girl asks, "Well, how old are you?" And he says, "I don't know." And he goes, "You don't know how old you are?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, I asked the tribal master once when I was born, and he said in the summertime. Do you know what I mean? And that. I mean, for me, that's a really nice, subtle little joke. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we sort of like and in no uncertain terms sort of fuck with a lot of tourists.
Yeah.
Because there was one guy, I remember they did a report once, and they told this woman that this American woman that what we did was we smeared Vegemite all over ourselves to keep sun as sunblock. So she put all this Vegemite on, and if you've ever had Vegemite, it stinks.
It's horrible, yeah, it stinks, yeah.
Marmite's better.
She puts this black Vegemite all over her. I think she's going, it's nice. And you're just going, oh my God.
Jesus.
The
smell must be absolutely horrible. And, just no idea.
I mean, as I said, when I saw the film, I thought it was delightful. The film, you can describe the film as delightful. I mean, it had no real violence in it, to tell you the truth. The violence it did have in it was slapstick. And the character is very unique, very, very male, and the female was very, very female. Do you know what I mean? It was all of what people wanted to see. The climax at the ending when he climbs over those people's heads was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was very.
Did Hogan write it?
That was based on. That was. I don't know if you get the joke, but the joke was that he was climbing on all the people's heads because that's what dogs do when they climb over sheep's backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it was sort of like a meta joke. He's like, he's doing an Australian,
That's why we pay you to come on, Matt.
It's a great movie. As far as I'm concerned, it was a really terrific. I remember seeing the poster where he's parting. I mean, the poster in England was Paul Hogan parting the buildings of New York.
Yes.
Like it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of those different types. Of things that they did, different posters. I don't know who did it. I don't know. I don't think Struzan did those posters.
No, I don't think he did either.
No, but they were very similar. But I mean, that was the best thing. Those posters in the 80s were all hand drawn, weren't they?
Yeah,
there was no Photoshop.
Yeah, they were. And that's the thing you see. I think people just want to be entertained. I mean, especially in the 80s and stuff. I mean, that's why those films are so successful, films of that era, because the filmmakers, all they wanted to do was entertain
you know
people.
what? Back then, like Crocodile Dundee went for 6 months in the cinema.
It was a massive hit, though, wasn't it? It was massive.
Yeah, but it was like, what other movie goes for like 6 months? I mean, it took me like 6 months to see it, And my dad went and saw it like 3 or 4 times, and he rarely ever went and saw a movie. And he was still laughing when he went there,
Yeah. It's a good movie.
It's a movie that kind of, back then had something for everybody.
It did, yeah. That's the whole point of movies, and people don't understand that these days. And also, if you look at it very carefully, it's very, very well directed, and the humor is very, very well placed.
Now you say that, Mega Geek. It's the fact that no movies nowadays have staying power.
No, yeah.
I don't think any of them are going to be classics in 20 years' time.
No, they're not. But then again, we are working in a different landscape now, aren't we?
Yeah, well, that's it too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. That is true. More is kind of, we got every opportunity to watch films now, and it's kind of saturating. It's like, it's not giving us any space. That we've been bombarded with so much. It's hard to figure out what's good and bad.
I think a lot of movies nowadays with their CGI and everything, I think that ruined it as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I watched a trailer today, and it was a Chinese, I think it was an Asian film or a Korean film, and the photography was so sublime that even that takes me out of it. I remember watching Lawrence of Arabia, and that's all shot on 70mm, and the photography is absolutely brilliant in that film. And there's a big difference between that photography and the kind of digital look of a film these days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
very, very different.
I'm just thinking of that movie. That's the first time you ever watch a movie where the person falls off a cliff before the movie starts.
Yeah.
He rides off on a motorcycle over the cliff, and you're like, "Oh, is that the end of the movie?" And you turn it off.
There is something about shooting on film and the photography, being really great on film. As I said, compared to some of the films you watch now, the photography is so good that it just feels unreal, if you know what I mean, for some reason. I don't know, but that's just me. Anyway.
So you're saying that something is shot so good, it actually takes you out of it.
Well, the trailer I saw today was some Asian movie, and the photography was so good that basically subconsciously you're going, sometimes you see a CGI effect, like for instance, Godzilla versus Kong, and the special effects are so good that you kind of, it makes you step back. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make you get involved in the movie. It makes you step back.
It just doesn't feel organic, does it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head.
It's the practical effects are great.
Yeah,
there's no to it, is there? It looks all superficial.
Yes.
Is it because it looks so good, so honed,
polished?
Polished.
Yeah,
that it just. Plus, you're probably kind of used to seeing stuff that looks so fantastic.
There's something organic about, if you watch Star Wars and you watch the scenes where Luke's in Tatooine and you see R2, driving across the sand and stuff like that. There's something organic and something real about those scenes. And then he looks up and he sees the two suns and something real about those scenes. But when you watch, another science fiction and it's all CGI, everything looks so clean and it's like they've had the perfect camera and they've shot the perfect landscape, and that landscape doesn't exist. It kind of slightly takes you subconsciously. It tells your mind to step back because that's not real. Do you know what I mean?
Are you saying Rise of Skywalker isn't a good film?
You know my thoughts on that, Matt.
Speaking of practical effects, Stan from Cruel Mirabella, Stan Winston's stuff was amazing.
It was.
It is fantastic, incredible stuff.
Yeah,
the Terminator stuff. Yeah.
Because he had a lot to do with Jurassic Park, even though a lot of people don't realise that. They all think it was CGI. Well, guess what? He did a lot of the practical. No, he did a lot of the animatronic stuff.
He did.
He
did. It's amazing when you look back and you look at Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, those effects still stand up today, more so than some of the stuff they do today.
They are good, yes.
So that's the thing. I mean, it's incredible when you think about that, how we've gone from shooting on, shooting silent movies in black and white in a square to now we have total control over, even on our phones, we could shoot something that looks, a billion times better than what they could do in the old days. So it's a pretty amazing stuff when you think about it.
I actually saw the first screening of Jurassic Park here in pretty much in Australia. And the guy that introduced it actually said, you should feel very privileged to be sitting here watching this film before anybody else.
Wow.
Well, at the end of the film, I was like, yeah, I mean, the effects were good, but as far as, it's grown on me over years,
Yeah.
But, originally it just sent me a bit, I was a bit numb about the whole thing.
Is Jurassic Park a film that's got something for everybody?
I think so. I mean, look, when you think about it, right? That scene where the girl goes and she has to switch the power back on. I think it's Laura Dern, and you have that hand,
Admiral Oldall.
She
without
turns
the
in
pink
that hand's hanging off her shoulder. Today, you'll never get that today. When you look at Temple of Doom, how violent was that film? Yeah, it was. Kids could see that film.
Dark as fuck.
I think the edge of movies have gone now because of this social rubbish that people are pumping into.
Temple of Doom would never get made today.
It wouldn't.
No way. And I mean, that Temple
fuck.
of Doom is I hadn't even seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw Temple of Doom first, and it blew me away. I was just like, that was an awesome film, and that's my Indiana Jones is from Temple of Doom, you know.
Yeah.
And then to me, Last Crusade is probably the weakest out of all three, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it goes Temple of Doom, then Raiders, then Indiana.
Crystal Skull.
No, that's terrible. That film.
That guy. Oh well, you know.
I hated it.
I'm with Matt on that.
I kind of think it's getting a lot of hate that didn't need. It's an Indiana Jones adventure. That's it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
People.
I don't hate it. I just think
I
that
understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
it was probably a little bit too blown, you know.
Yeah, it is, and I just think that they shouldn't have made it because really it should have stopped. It was a perfect ending, and Last Crusade, and they rode off into the sunset.
Yeah,
you know what?
Sure.
I'm going to throw something in here. Do you think it suffered from CGI kind of fatigue?
It did a bit. Yeah. It was in,
so
and
it takes
also
you out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, they ran out of ideas. Even the bit in the beginning with the Paramount sign, and you see the little what is it? The little creature come up from the thing. Yeah, I think it ran out of ideas, and there wasn't much they could do that will like even the fights were crap. Do you know what I mean in that film compared to the others?
1950s setting didn't really suit Indiana Jones. You know,
No.
Our in the chat, our friend of the channel who we haven't seen for a while says even the beginning of Raiders was quite gory. The guy getting speared all through his body face and pinned to the wall tree when Indy finds him. It
is very violent.
He
was Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus, mate.
give me the whip, give me the idol, and I give you the whip.
The whip, yeah.
Cruel in the chat says Indy 4 is not bad, but it really, but didn't really need to happen.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, they should have just left it.
Yeah, they should have. I mean, it was nice to see Harrison Ford back, and it was nice to see the hat and you know the whip and stuff like that. And the beginning sequence was really good, you know, in Area 51 and stuff.
Twice.
Yeah, it was.
I went and saw it twice.
I just couldn't see it another. That stupid bit where he was sinking in the sand and they threw him a snake, and you know, and you know, and all that stupid bit, and the bit with the swinging through the trees like a monkey and all that. I was just ridiculous.
Oh, the monkey stuff. Yeah, that was a complete load of garbage.
Yeah. And the ending sucked as well with the aliens and stuff. You're like, well, okay, whatever.
Well, it didn't need to be aliens. You know?
That's right.
It didn't.
That's right. Yeah.
But you know,
anyway.
there were certain cool elements in it.
They were.
You know,
yeah.
You know.
So I take it you're looking forward to number 5 then?
No, you know that's going to be a bad idea.
DOA.
Indiana Jones and the Rest Home.
Indiana Jones in a Simba frame.
Is Harrison Ford? Is he getting divorced or something? Because
he's on with Ally McBeal.
Well, is he must be desperate for the money then.
No, he loves the character. That's the thing. And I remember
is that what it is? Oh,
yeah, okay. I mean, I remember him being interviewed. I can't remember who was interviewing him, and they said, "Well, what do you think of Chris Pratt being Indiana Jones?" And he said, "There's only one Indiana Jones, and you're looking at him." Do you know what I mean? And he's right. You know, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, but now is the time to stop. You know, otherwise you'll spoil the memory.
I will say it's a shame that he didn't think the same about Han Solo.
Yeah, he hated Han Solo. I don't understand that kind of hate at all, really. Because I like Han Solo. I think Han Solo's a brilliant character.
I do too.
Yeah.
They did destroy him though when he came back and just destroyed all the main three.
He was complicit. He was complicit as well.
I knew he was going to die in it.
Yeah.
I was like,
when he
no,
did,
he's gonna die.
when he did, I just went in my mind. I just went, well, that's that then. You know, I didn't really feel sorry for him or anything.
Like, he's gonna turn. He's gonna stab him. Yep, stabbed him. Yep, he's off. Bye. He's doing a Palpatine off the.
Cruel in the chats. Harrison wanted to do another one before he turns 80. Right. Well, he's 79
He's still fit
now.
though. You know, he's still.
They were going to film it last year, weren't they?
They were.
The whole bug happened.
But you know, the best thing to do for the Indiana Jones films is to basically tell Harrison Ford to step down and get somebody else in, like James Bond. Get somebody else in to play Indiana Jones.
We said that the other day, didn't we?
Yeah,
that would be a good option.
Yeah, best option.
And you know what?
Option.
Since you actually said that, I have been thinking, and I'm like, because I was opposed to it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe try it and see if it works.
Yeah, I reckon it would. I reckon it would. Yeah.
But we have to remember that Indiana Jones is a very male thing. So if they start injecting this politics in there, it's going to fail, because Indiana Jones needs to be muscle. He needs to punch people. He needs to, he needs to get the idol. Yeah, yes, I'm saying he needs to be manly. That's what Indiana Jones is all about. That's the thing.
You know what they need? They need another Indiana Jones and Short Round movie.
I love Short Round.
I do too.
I will tell you,
Dr. Jones. No time for love.
I will tell you what they don't need, and it's there on the screen.
Oh, her. You know what? Right, I'm not going to judge it until I eventually watch it, which will probably be until
She's going to be the sidekick, isn't she? You know, like the he always kind of was it the German girl in the first one, or was that in Crusade?
The third one,
yeah. There's always kind of like a romantic interest.
She's too young for him though. He's like 70, he's pushing 75 or something.
Yeah, but is that the age? Is that the age of the character though?
He was in his 60s, in the 50s, wasn't he, or something like that? So he's going to be in his 70s in the next one. So this is the thing about.
If you remember, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember a show called Young Indiana Jones Chronicles?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
there used to be like little intros and outros where it was like there was an old guy and he had a patch.
Yeah.
And they actually removed it for the DVD releases and everything. But they had him as an old man.
They did. They did.
And he actually did make a reappearance. Harrison Ford actually did make a reappearance.
Yes, he did.
Oh wow!
In one of them episodes. You weren't aware of this, Mr. Brown?
I knew of the program. I probably watched maybe a couple of episodes, but it kind of passed me by.
Well, they sort of set like Indiana Jones in the 50s as well, and it was like he had a beard, and he was like playing a saxophone. It had something to do with music, so he was playing a saxophone. So it was very interesting for Harrison Ford to be playing a saxophone.
With regards Last Crusade,
I thought it was really good. I liked Last Crusade.
You know when the bit where he goes, "You chose wisely."
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he have he's got eternal life, hasn't he?
No. Remember that the knight said, beyond this crest on the ground.
Beyond the seal.
Yeah, beyond the seal, you're normal, but if you stay within the seal, you can live forever. That's why he was there for a long time. Yeah.
Okay. Right, so he does age, right? Okay. Right. Yeah, Thank you for clearing that up.
But what gets me though, Ian, is Mega Geek is the fact that when he gives it to Sean Connery to fix him up so that he's healed and everything, he doesn't revert back to being injured when they pull him out.
Is that
it cured him within that area. So when he comes out the area, he's still cured. He's not going to live forever. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense. Okay.
In the chat, she will lead him around like Picard got led around. I don't like where this is going already. Maybe Indy will apologise less than Picard. Well, coming out the cinema and going, he
pissed off.
Yeah. That was you'll come out the cinema and go, well, that wasn't too bad actually, because Indy apologised less than Picard. So we'll take that as a small victory.
Well, For me, right, I don't
Nice.
understand because it's obvious that Hollywood's ageist, right? For me, as a person that's halfway through his life, if you like to think about it, I think that they should just if they're going to make an Indiana Jones film with Harrison Ford, they should basically write the script around his age and make sure that he does stuff that's credible or slightly over the top. Not so over the top like he was in his 30s, but do you know what I mean? And just kind of cater to him. It's like the new Ghostbusters. In my opinion, if I was in charge of the new Ghostbusters, I'd never have kids in it. I'd get the original one back and and try and sort it out,
when I
and
found
work
out
with their age.
in it, I was like, oh no, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, just have adults in it.
But the reason why they did that's because of Stranger Things. Now Stranger Things is more of a memory now. I know the next one's coming out, but is it going to work within this time frame? Let's find out.
Did you watch Stranger Things?
I did. I loved it. I didn't like the last season. Thought the first season and the second season was good. A lot of feminist agenda creeped into the second season. Yeah. But and the third season I thought it was okay personally.
Cruel says I'm not looking forward to Ghostbusters at all.
Well, you've got to see it as a Ghostbuster fan. It might be good. You never know. But
didn't Bill Murray say it's kind of in the same place as the original?
Well, they said that about the girls one, didn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
Bill
they
Murray,
don't know what
isn't
they're
it?
talking about. Bill Murray said the same thing, and so did Dan Aykroyd when they were being interviewed. Yeah, this is a really good film. It's really good. Carry Out the Mantle. You went to see it. It was absolute shit. Do you know what I mean? So they have to say things like that.
He was executive producer, though.
Yeah, I know.
He had his career, his money riding on it.
Yeah.
He can't make his based on alcohol. Have you seen his alcohol? It's in like a skull jar. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
It's just he makes whiskey or whatever. It's like
in the chat. Agree with the mega geek on ageist Hollywood, but they did not disrespect Judi Dench in the way they did to Picard.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with Judi Dench, I loved her as M. Right, I really did. I think that was the right move because at that moment in time, the head of MI6 was a woman.
Yeah.
So they decided to put Judi Dench in there just to basically, mirror what's happening in real life. And it was a good move because she's a really good actress. I remember that the first scene with Pierce Brosnan. You would not screw with her. She had that powerful kind of, don't mess with me, Bond. Don't mess with me. She had that kind of tone to her that you knew she was a hard woman, So it works really well, in my opinion.
Do you know what I found quite strange? But it did work. How Judi Dench was in the Brosnan era.
Yeah.
And then she came back for the Craig.
Yeah, that annoyed me. That annoyed me.
That was, I
think it worked.
It did.
I don't think it did. It did
No?
for me anyway. Nope.
For what reason?
No. Well, to me, it was like it's literally you're making it the same universe, and to me, it's like, well,
you're a purist then.
Well,
yeah. Remember, Matt, when Bernard Lee was playing M, and then he changed from Sean Connery to George Lazenby, and then George Lazenby to Roger Moore. It was still Bernard Lee. So they were just following that kind of thing, weren't they?
Okay, yeah, no, I'll give you that one. Yep, you make me think now. You make me think.
Yeah, shame's what's happening with our films, isn't it?
While bridges are happening, that's what.
I haven't seen that Spectre, but am I right in thinking that Ralph Fiennes is now?
Yes, he's M.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's M now, which he's a really good actor, and I hope he's in the next film as well. But
he's in the next one.
I don't like the way the next. I have never liked Craig. I thought Craig was the wrong choice for Bond.
To me, he was very much a thug.
Yes,
I was like, yeah. I was just like, no. I understand where they were going, but no, he's just not quite my Bond.
No, same here as well. But
he's not suave enough.
Do you know No Time to Release?
Yeah.
Get this. Was it a year ago, literally a year ago, that it should have been released?
Yes.
It is, isn't it? It's a year ago. Excuse me.
But it's terrible when it becomes a bit of a joke. When the fact is, hey, here, it's coming out now. Oh no, it's not. It's coming out in a couple of months' time. Oh no, it's not coming out. No, it's coming out at the end of the year. Oh no, it's not. It's coming.
But the thing is though, I think what's becoming evident is that films of quality can be made for less. You know, James Bond, there really is no need for a James Bond film to cost that amount of money. It really isn't. You can do so much these days with. I was running in Battersea Park a couple of days ago, and they're shooting something down there. I don't know what they're shooting. I think it must be some BBC thing. And you should have seen the amount of
fan film.
Yeah, you should have seen the amount of trailers they had and stuff, and they took over a whole patch of land. And I was thinking to myself, do you know what? They're probably shooting something really small, and they need all this stuff. Yeah. But it's crazy when you think about it. I think they can make films to look the same way because of CGI and what we can do now, but they don't need all that money. It's just the agents and the actors, but sooner or later, budgets for films will go down.
Just quickly.
Don't you remember when? Sorry.
I was just going to say, just quickly going back to No Time to Release. I think I kind of got my dates mixed up a little bit. It was going to be released last November, wasn't it? But obviously, Coof happened, and then it was going to be practically released this time. Maybe a couple of weeks ago, or Easter.
Yeah.
And then it got put back again, hasn't it, to November?
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
I think the film looks okay. I don't like the idea of the black woman agent, because it just comes across as a bit woke to me. But we'll see, because you can't judge.
Come on.
I haven't a problem with it. I haven't a problem with it.
I don't know.
It depends. I think it's going to be dependent on the nuance of it.
Yeah.
Of the nuance.
Look, I don't really want to go by what YouTubers say. I'd rather wait until the movie comes out.
Yeah, no, same here. No, I agree.
And the fact is, they're going, there's a black woman playing the agent, and she's going to be the new 007 and all this, and I'm like, yeah, but there might be a reason why, and so we just need to wait and see.
I think the purists of the franchise are a little bit huffy because she's going to be 007. But
we don't know that.
I think though, in the real, if it was real and Bond left 5 years ago, somebody would fit into the 007 role, unless it was specifically 007 was Bond, and when Bond retires, it retires the number as well.
But you see,
we don't know.
Yeah, but you see, Ian, there's no need for this. There was no need for that storyline. There was no need for that character. James Bond is James Bond. They should just make a James Bond film. And purely because they have this woman in it, and purely because of these rumors saying that she's the next 007.
Yeah, but he retired though, didn't he? He went off. He found his love.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you could have not put that in the story. That we know why that's in the story, because of what's happening today in films and there's the feminist agenda. We know why that's in it, and that's what irks people. It's not the fact that they got this woman in there.
Yeah, it's the bullshitometer going off. Yeah,
you could have 1,000 reasons what happened when he retired. Why have this woman taken over his mantle? That's there because of a reason. The reason is because of the feminine agenda. And that's what irks people. It's not people are not against a black 007, a black woman 007. They're not against that. It's the reason why it's happening now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yes. High praise indeed. Here we go. The bullshitometer. That should be a word, actually. Bullshitometer. Yeah. Yeah, that should be the word of 2021. Bullshitometer.
It's incredible to me how
I'll give you that.
I was on a stream with on I think it was Keith's stream, and we were talking about the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and
there you go.
So in the fourth episode, Bucky is crying in the beginning, and the woman from Wakanda, I can't remember her name, is trying to break
with O, I think.
Yeah, break his mind, because when people say certain words, it goes mental.
Yes,
the programming.
Yes.
And I said on the stream, because the people that were on the stream, I described them as nerdy film, TV people. I describe myself as a geek. There's a big difference between being a geek and a nerd. Right, so basically, I said, "Oh yeah, they made him cry." The MCU, and the amount of it's like I farted or something, and I could smell it. Their faces were like, what are you talking about? And then they said, "Oh yeah, I don't mind if a woman makes a man cry and all that stuff like that." And I didn't want to get into it, because I know when normie nerdies. When they can't
normie
see
nerdies.
That's what they're called. I'm calling them nerd. I'm calling them out. They're normie nerdies. That's what they are.
Calling them out.
Yeah.
So basically, what? I know this might be going off topic, but I saw my very first struggle session yesterday.
Oh yeah,
actually.
you mentioned that on the Twattersphere, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to go too much into it, but it was actually a woman talking to a man, and he had to just sit there and listen to it
and take it,
and take it.
But
and
that's what happens in a marriage anyway, isn't it?
China
in a marriage,
they weren't married. It was for work,
Oh,
it was work related, and
Pat,
that just goes to show,
Matt, I'll give you an example. Right, there's this show called I can't remember what it was called, but it was a bachelor show. It's like this woman looking for a bachelor, looking for a husband.
Bachelorette.
That's it, something like that, right? And then there was this scene in it where, and I saw this in another live stream. There was a scene in it where this woman, he was talking to the woman, and basically she did something, and he was like, well, that's not right. And he was right, something about her being very sexist towards men. And then she goes, "How dare you?" And she stood up and she ran off and she started crying. And then all the other men were told what happened. And they went up to the guy, because the guy that told her off was completely and utterly right. And they went up to the guy and went, "Dude, you made her cry. What's wrong with you?" And the guy was going, "What are you talking about? I said my piece, whatever." But the point I'm trying to make is that all those men found him guilty without even knowing why she was crying. Do you understand? This is where we're coming to now. This is the point I'm trying to make, where the normie nerds, right, are like, they just can't see what's going on. And when free speech gets taken away from us, they'll start wondering what's going on. I think that's when they'll see what's going on. Do you know what I mean? They're very blind to what's going on, and they like everything. They like everything to do with pop culture. For some reason, they don't question anything. So that's the point I'm trying to make. That those people really are not helping it. Helping the cause.
What's pissing me off is the fact that they're trying to rewrite history.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to insert things back into the past that weren't there. The
nerds can't see it.
I was stating the other day, the fact that the ABC here in Australia is like the BBC. They've got now this thing where they've got to have 50% women and 50% Indigenous people. But like the first thing they're going to do is an historical on Gallipoli. Now, if you know Gallipoli, it was World War One, and it was like they were all men. Yeah. So how the hell do you do that? It's just it's insane.
It's
like
equivalent.
This Anne Boleyn thing,
Yeah. It's the equivalent to burning books. That's what it is. What they're doing is burning digital culture and trying to rewrite history and trying to say that the things that people did in the past, they should be accountable for the future, which is ridiculous.
Didn't that happen in Germany?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, folks. You heard it here.
But that's what I'm saying.
Indiana Jones was there.
Yeah, he was, and he bumped into Hitler as well.
Yeah, and he got his autograph.
Yeah, exactly.
He did, yes. In the chats, blimey, how do you do? Sorry, exactly. How do you do Gallipoli with diversity quotas?
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's not good, is it? It's not good, pal.
No,
It
it's
really
it's just crazy. The whole world has gone crazy.
Cruel, social media is the beer halls. Cancel culture is burning the books.
You know what, right? Look, I'm all for powerful women and women doing their thing and stuff
Me
like
too.
that.
Yeah,
but why?
But they've got to earn it.
Why? Yeah, but why do this feminine agenda? Why do they want to destroy what men has built and replace characters through pop culture and through our culture itself with women when women didn't earn that place? Why replace Doctor Who with a woman? You know, why do that? Why replace James Bond with a woman? Why you know what I mean? Why do these things? Why can't they create their own characters and build upon that? Because that is what they should be doing.
Yeah.
It's because we're the devil. We're everything that they despise.
We're just an easy target now.
We've had everything. We've had everything that they haven't, and so it's all just spiraled as soon as
they're getting everything now
years,
through the white man's hard work.
Oh, now come on.
Is that a bit silly?
It takes two to build, and but I think to a degree, as they say, you give a little, and then all of a sudden they want everything.
I kind of say
everybody
that
just wants
because
everything.
last summer I was rounded upon by. I was told that I had far too much white privilege on Facebook from a friend I used to work with. And he's from one of these kind of lefty Guardian reader, kind of the most privileged of all, having a go at me.
What really annoys me is the fact that people won't talk about it. They're just like, no, this is wrong. This is right.
No. Everything's yes or
no. Black and white. There is no grey area to move around in. And it's just it's gotten to the point now where I was okay for a female doctor.
Same here. I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with it. Missy was fantastic.
The fact that but I was expecting to see a real woman. I wasn't expecting to see this thing looking like freaking Mork from Ork.
She's from Huddersfield or wherever it is.
I was like, this is a fucking joke, right? She's got this fucking bloody Mork clothes, the Robin Williams look on her, and I'm like, what? This is a joke, isn't it? It is a joke. You're just pulling an April Fool's, and it's like, no, this is what she's gonna look like, and I'm like, what? That doesn't even. If she's going to be a woman, make her a fucking woman. Don't make her into a fucking whatever that is,
I call her Matt Tennant.
Oh, I like David Tennant, but oh man, I tell you what, Matt Smith nailed it for me though. But
did you hear what I said? Matt Tennant.
Yeah, Matt Tennant. I'm not Matt Tennant.
She is Matt Tennant. Mega Geek gets it, don't you?
Oh, yes, I get it.
But the thing is, though, go ahead, Matt.
No, you go on.
No, I was just saying that it's really strange how they've taken the female traits of a female out of the Doctor, because if the Doctor goes from a man to a woman,
she's upgrade. She's an upgrade, though, isn't she?
Not going to look any different, is she?
Yeah, you'd expect her to be more womanly and maybe even sexy, even as the Doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always thought that. To be honest, I mean, especially since he can take now, he can take people's faces, and actually, I always thought Sophia Myles would be a brilliant bloody Doctor, but
she would. Yeah, she's lovely.
To be honest, they've thrown it all out the freaking bloody. At the door now. It's just ruined. It's ruined. You cannot have another woman.
It is ruined. It definitely is ruined. But as I said, it just needs to go to sleep for a while and then come back anew. That's what I think.
Yeah, but if it does, see, the thing is, you got to remember too, when they brought back it with Christopher Eccleston, there was no mention of any prior prior doctors or anything like that. And then eventually, everybody's like, oh, when are you going to mention stuff about the doctors, and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, when they started mentioning it, people were like, oh no, they're not, they're not from the same universe, it's a totally different doctor.
How long do you think they would need to arrest it for? Maybe
I reckon about 5 years.
Maybe. Oh no, longer than that.
I was thinking, 10 years at least.
No, I don't. Well, I don't think 10 years. I think the best thing that can happen to it is that they fire Piers Wanker. They fire him.
I was going to say the problem is I don't actually think. The problem is the actual BBC itself.
Yeah. So you basically you have to get rid of these people with that kind of way of thinking for TV shows. I mean that just makes us slide into the Luther subject, which has come out, which is on Twitter now, with Idris Elba saying that he's not black enough in the show. Come on.
It was a woman who was employed at the BBC who came up with his comments.
God.
She's a black woman, yes. I read the thing this morning, that it's he's not black enough.
How does that? How does someone? Oh my God!
it's
for
not
fuck's
good.
sake!
Bearing in mind, first episode was 2010, and when I started watching Luther, I knew it was around, but I never watched it. So I literally binge watched it when the last series was on. So you could see, I think every series had a 2-year gap practically in between. You could see the wokeness coming in towards the end.
Well,
this really get into it.
It says here, the BBC diversity chief says that Idris Elba's TV detective Luther isn't black enough to be real because he doesn't have any black friends and doesn't eat Caribbean food. Would you believe that? Thing is, though, Luther is not real. It's a TV show. Do you know what I mean? A Caribbean food, and this is
that like that? Isn't that racist in itself?
It is, and they don't realize that. BBC doesn't realize that. That's the thing, and it's crazy when you think about it, right? And it really is absolutely the worst thing anyone could say about such a great show. I just think it's because he's a male. They're trying to tear it down. That's basically what they're doing. So he says, I know none of the black people in South Africa have a steady diet of Caribbean food. Someone says.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
The BBC is absolutely racist with those comments.
I think it will take, for Doctor Who to come back as well. I think it will take at least. No, I think it will take about 20 years just to get rid of the filth out of it. But hopefully, everything will upright shit again. So,
the very first black detective show was a show on ITV. ITV was the very first person to actually put a black lead in a detective show, and it was called Wilcott. And that was, I think it was in the 70s, and it was basically, the guy that was in Flash Gordon. The one that says, we have nothing to offer you but our loyalty.
Yes, and he
played Wilcott.
He was in The Professionals as well, that guy.
Yes, he was. He's been in a lot of stuff. He played Wilcott, and he was the lead in this TV show. It was the very first it wasn't. There was still white people in it, but it was very heavily a black thing.
Hey, Mega Geek, fall upon your sword.
Fall upon your sword. Death to Ming.
Nice.
But the thing is, though, that show, nobody remembers it. No one remembers it, and it's very steeped in its culture, in its black culture, very, very steeped in it. But nobody remembers it. So, which is interesting when you think about it,
Well, isn't it amazing, all these little gems from like the UK? I mean, I love British TV shows. I love them. It's like watching old, history, especially in the 70s and 80s, and it's like, well, now that's all just lost. It's all shit. Like, I'm looking at all the crime dramas and they're all the fucking same.
Yeah, they are. They are. I got to admit, they really. I mean, I can't stand British drama anymore. I think they're steeped in this agendas and woke stuff, and also the fact that they're so dull. Like everybody keeps raving on about that one with what is it? The one that Chibnall created. I can't remember that stupid Broadchurch. And I saw the first episode, and that was enough for me. I was like, no, I can't watch this. If I wanted to slit my wrists, I'd watch this show. Do you know what I mean? It's just so depressing. It really is. And what's the point?
Like,
the best
Chibnall shit anyway.
He is. In fact, that word is too good for him. The best kind of homegrown drama that I saw on ITV was a couple of years ago, and I've mentioned this before. Was I think it was called Wild Bill.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was okay,
and it was all right with was it Rob Lowe?
Yeah,
I kind of got into it, and just as we were getting into it, it finished.
Yeah. I mean, there are some really good British TV shows on. I mean, I can't even think of one now. Would you believe it?
That's how good they are.
Luther. I loved Luther. I watched every
Luther
season
was
of
fantastic.
Luther. Yeah, it was a great show. Really great show. And also Idris was fantastic in it. And it was a really good show. And I loved the way it dealt with his character being not good, not bad.
Don't give any spoilers though.
Yeah.
I used to love the 90s when they used to have those offbeat
I can't remember
ones
the
like
90s.
in like the country like when they were set in the country and that, like Hamish Macbeth, and there was what's that one with that Tom Baker was in? Yeah, Taggart. That was years though, but like there was one what was it? There was one about like in the Highlands, and Tom Baker was in it. And,
I remember that one. Hamish Macbeth.
No. It was something of the Glen. Monarch of the Glen. Yeah, and they used to do, and then there was like Doc Martin and that sort of thing.
Well,
and even Doc Martin got woke.
It did towards the end. But Doc Martin, I used to love that. The first season, the second season, the third season were absolutely terrific. And I would always equate Doc Martin to House MD. I always think this is the British House MD.
That's what they did, though. Because if you've ever seen the pilots are totally different to what the series became.
Well, it was a feature film first and foremost, Doc Martin.
Oh,
and
was it?
It got a limited release, and then they decided to make it into a TV show and change the character slightly because he was more. And if you watch the feature film, he had more emotion. But when you watch the TV show, he has hardly any.
In the chat, going back to Caribbean food, says, I remember roots while I was growing up. I don't remember the Caribbean food, mostly the slavery, brutality and oppression on the plantation. Was Roots black enough?
I was a bit before. It was
Geordie
before
LaForge,
my time, but I remember North and South. That was a really good one with Patrick Swayze.
Look, the BBC has never been kind to black shows at all. If you look at the history of what they've done, they've never been kind. Like, for instance, they had a show called
Love Thy Neighbor.
That was a mistake. That was ITV.
That was ITV.
Okay,
and Mind Your Language. Mind Your Language.
I used to love Mind Your Language. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny.
It was funny.
It's a huge hit in Canada. Mind Your Language. People watch that show.
They remade it in America, didn't they?
I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, they did. They had their own version. I don't know what it was called, but they did.
I remember growing up, there was a show. There was Desmond's, which I really liked, and that was
Channel 4. That was all right.
Yeah, Channel 4, and they took that off for some unknown reason, and they've never ever gone back to it, or never ever had a show quite like it. Same thing with ITV had a show called The Fosters. I don't know if you remember that. With Lenny Henry was part of this family called the Fosters. That was a long time ago, and that was a huge success. And they didn't repeat it. And BBC Two had a comedy sketch show, and it was all black. I can't remember what it was called. Something Color or something like The Real McCoy. The Real McCoy, huge success, but they didn't bring it back.
You know what? I was talking to Dan Hadley the other day.
Hail Dan.
Because. Like I was telling him about the goodies, And
I love the goodies.
Yeah.
yeah, the goodies apparently in England didn't run for very long. They just had first runs and that was it.
No,
really?
no, that's not true. No,
Okay.
they ran. It ran for I think 6 seasons. Then it went to ITV, and then it had I think 2 seasons there, and then obviously. Sorry.
Did they do repeats? Because apparently,
I don't think it's ever been repeated. So yes.
Yeah, because that was it. It wasn't repeated, and whereas here in Australia, it was like every week it was on, and it went on through the 80s, and it was amazing, and I couldn't wait to get the DVDs when they came out.
Yeah,
and when I found out that there was a package coming out from in the UK of the whole complete series, I was like, oh yeah, I want to get that, and I got it, and I was watching it, and I'm like, they've edited this.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I was saying to Dan, I think they edited it, and I said, because he said, oh, I was thinking of getting it, and I said, well, I think they've edited it because there's some black and white minstrel stuff in there where they used to make fun of it. They used to make fun of it. They were cut out. Except for the South Africa one, they actually cut it out. And I'm like, but this. I'm looking at the DVD, I'm looking at the box set, and I'm like, where does it say it's been edited?
I know, but there's a scene in. You remember the one of the most famous episodes, Eki Thump, which is where they were taking the Mickey out of Kung Fu.
Yeah,
and there's
that one.
So basically, there's this scene in it where Bill takes on everybody. Pudding. So there was this one.
Ketchup squeezy things.
Yeah, so basically, he takes on a guy that does karate, and then he took on this boxer, and it was Graham, black-faced, dressed in, with boxing gloves. And they probably took that out as well. They probably took that scene out as well. So
in the chat, sorry, Matt. In the chat, says. I suppose we can take a small crumb of comfort from this. Mind your language did at least equally insult and misrepresent every nation in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Had a German woman in it.
Yeah, it had every kind of reputation for people in it. So, but it was funny. It was funny as hell, wasn't it? It really was very, very funny, and
it took the piss out of everybody, even the English.
It did. Yeah.
In the chat, the martial art of Eki Thump. Aye, lad.
Yeah. I remember at school we would just talk about that almost like for a whole week when that episode came out.
You know what? They came down here, like Tim Brooke Taylor and Graham.
Rest in peace, Tim Brooke Taylor.
Graham Garden. Yeah, he recently.
It was last year.
First year anniversary, actually. He died of the bug. Yeah. And I actually met him and Graham Garden, and I tell you what, they were like gods to me. Yeah. Because I'd seen them on TV for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I could literally recite everything, every episode and everything. And they knew it. They loved it because obviously they weren't getting that attention in the UK.
And no, that's not true, Matt. They were getting that attention. They were huge hits, and they had a couple of number ones. Music that they created.
I mean, in recent years, about 10 years ago. Yeah, they were elderly. They were in their 60s.
Well, that's because the BBC chucked them under the bus. They didn't want to support their show, and then they went to ITV. Same thing with Morecambe and Wise. Morecambe and Wise was huge, and then when it came to something that they wanted, the BBC didn't want to support them, and then they went to ITV. And when you go to ITV, you die basically.
That's another thing, is that Morecambe and Wise wasn't big here at all, but the two Ronnies were. The two Ronnies even had their own Australian show.
Wow!
They actually came over and lived here for a year. And even Ronnie Corbett had his own show here, in his own variety show. And I tell you what, I watched a recent video of that because they actually released it on DVD here, and there was some blackface in that too, and that was like the early 80s. And he's there making fun of it, and I'm like,
but that's where Dave Allen started, right? Dave Allen was huge in Australia, and then he went from a small show on the BBC, and then Australia nicked him, and he was a huge hit in Australia, and then he went back to the BBC.
Then he come back,
back to the BBC.
Back in the day. Dave Allen on BBC Two, especially at Christmas, was a big deal.
Oh God, yeah, yeah, definitely.
I used to like his monologues.
Yeah, we used to. I used to watch it as a kid, and Dave Allen was fantastic.
Yeah, he was, and Dave Allen was. My dad used to cry with laughter because obviously my dad was very religious, and when he used to do those religious sketches, my dad used to fall on the ground and he holding his. He just thought it was the funniest thing he's ever seen, you know. And a lot of the churches really didn't like what he was doing, but you just got to see it as humor, you know. There's nothing in this world that can't be taken the piss out of, and it should be allowed
Not
that
anymore.
way. Laughter,
Not
exactly.
anymore.
Laughter is the key to happiness.
Not
so
anymore.
And anything should be allowed to be taken the piss out of. Anything, really. Let's face it. So
in
anyway.
the chat, says the goodies were a bit like the family version of Python, but without profanity. Now, family kids entertainment needs censorship.
No. There was naked ladies in the goodies. There were naked ladies in there was a lot of pin-ups and a lot of boobies and stuff. He used to have his little sherbet and that, and like all of a sudden you think about naked ladies and that.
That what's his name? John Cleese and the Monty Python group. They considered
they worked all together.
The goodies. No, they considered the goodies a children's show, and there was like a little
Python. I never got Python. It just never really connected with me. Whereas the goodies, I just I love to death. You know,
they used to basically take the Mickey out of them. The Python group used to take the Mickey out of the goodies, and there was one scene in the goodies. There's one scene in the goodies where John Cleese appears and he says, "This is a kid show," and they hit him over the head
as a genie.
So yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So
yeah.
So there's a lot of history with the goodies. That Kitten Kong was absolutely brilliant. I remember watching that as a kid, thinking to myself, "My God, that cat's huge." I used to believe that cat was huge. You know what I mean? The special effects were really good.
When it was the BT telephone tower.
Tower, yeah.
I didn't even know. Is that still around, that tower? Or is that gone?
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's still around.
Okay.
Yeah. But the goodies used to make me laugh so much. Used to make me laugh so much. I used to cry with laughter. It's basically what it is. It's a cartoon. That's basically what it is. A physical cartoon.
Yeah. I used to love some of my favorite episodes were the fact that when they'd run out of money, and they only could do the building, and they got shut in. They'd get locked in their house or whatever, and to be the end of the world or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just cracked me up.
Didn't Python and goodies all come from
Cambridge, Oxford and Cambridge? Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Well,
my favorite episode
is Marty Feldman, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Was it the gunfight in the LKT room? Which was with the catch up. That's really funny. It's so stupid. You just gotta laugh with the tomato catch up.
Scones.
Yeah.
Scones.
Yeah. Scones.
It's like mining for cream,
Yeah.
In the chat, says, "I do not remember the naked ladies in the goodies. We'll need to.
There were posters. There were posters on the wall. Yeah.
Bill would have this lemon sherbet. There's this licorice lemon sherbet thing you can have, and he'd be sucking on that, and then all of a sudden he'd be thinking about naked ladies and shit like that. So it was in there.
It was in there, yeah.
And there was Punkarella too. If you've ever seen Punkarella, there's a lot of innuendo in that one. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it was very innocent humor in those days, and I love the Christmas specials were amazing. The Beanstalk one was funny. The remember the one with the puppets, all the puppets from the children's show, and they were attacking them, and it was very much a comedy of its time, and it was very much well done as well. I remember a scene where Bill was in the middle of the road and he put his head down. This huge truck come and slam into his head, and he was okay. Do you know what I mean? The dummies that fell off cliffs. It was very
cartoony, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was very slapstick.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
that was that kind of humor, wasn't it? So really good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just the fact that that's all off now.
Well,
it is.
And that was when the BBC was something to be held up on a pedestal, because I remember each show used to have the people from the BBC, like Malcolm Wise, used to have newscasters singing, and doing stupid things, and
they had it too.
And the goodies did it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Michael Aspel used to get
Robert Dougal.
Yeah, Michael Aspel got crushed by Kit and Kong with the paw. Do you remember that?
I didn't even know who they were.
Yeah, they're famous. They're famous.
Funny.
Yeah, famous people.
One of my favorite episodes was Clown Virus.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen that one, it's like they put something in the tomato soup, and then like all of a sudden tomato soup ends up in everybody's kitchen, and they all become clowns.
In the chat, says there was one where they were getting chased by geese dropping exploding eggs.
Yeah, that was the
Jack the Beanstalk one.
Jack and the Beanstalk one. Yeah. And also they used to have adverts in between episodes, and they used to make up their own adverts, which was so funny. So funny.
Some of them were. I think they had like Valerie Leon and all them in it too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, a lot of BBC stars. I like. In those days, British humour was incredibly
funny.
Yeah,
Some Hines.
Yeah, and the bold advert with the washing.
Say it right.
But I mean, it's funny how humour went from there, and it changed to embarrassing humour when Ricky Gervais came in, and humour became embarrassing humour. Cringy humour.
The last good comedy show I think I ever watched was the British one. Was probably Gimme Gimme Gimme.
And that was okay.
It was just, it was just slightly off. You're
right. It was slightly off.
The humor. No. It was just the fact that they took the Mickey out of a lot of things. So it was good.
Yeah,
but I think that was probably one of the last ones that I remember that was actually.
I think the last kind of comedy program
was okay, but it went a bit over.
Little Britain and Time, Gentlemen, Please. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I'm a huge fan of the old humor of England. I really liked Python. I liked the Goodies. I liked there were loads of shows that were really funny. I mean, even the stupid ones like Are You Being Served and and Hyacinth and
Classic.
They're all much of a muchness really when you think about it, and they're all very funny.
It's funny because I ended up about a year ago, I ended up because I was buying a lot of stuff from the UK, and I ended up getting this show called Heidi High.
Hody Ho.
Yeah, that's it. And it's kind of weird because the show would never ever work here in Australia because we never had holiday camps or any weird thing like that,
Yeah.
And but I mean, I get the humor. I find it funny when I watch it.
Well written. It was funny. It was well written.
And the fact it was from the same people that did, was it Dad's Army or something like that?
Yeah.
Even though I never found that funny, I did find this funny. So
really,
it was like, I was never into Dad's Army at all.
Dad's Army it's
Only
nice.
Fools and Horses
it's good.
too. I could never ever get into it.
Yeah, for me, Only Fools and Horses was brilliant as far as I was concerned. I loved that kind of humor. I remember when they used to have their Christmas specials. There's no way you would miss Only Fools and Horses. You would literally, count down the minutes before the show would actually start. It's the same thing with Doctor Who, the Doctor Who Christmas specials as well. But as I said, all of that is gone now. All of that kind of humor, all that kind of Britishness that we had in those shows they're trying to basically eliminate it and say that it was bad. That's what they're trying to do, and they weren't bad. I'm old school, of course, and I don't have anything against people that want to take humor in a different way. As I said, I think Ricky Gervais created the embarrassing humor with The Office, and then everybody jumped on that bandwagon, and then everything he went on was embarrassing.
Never
humor.
Found that funny,
I
tried. I was like, this is going to be fun. It's like Absolutely Fabulous. I couldn't laugh at that either. I just never found it funny. I was like, "What? I'm going to like this. I'm going to like this," and I'm like, "But it's not funny."
Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna finish at 1:15 if that's okay.
No worries.
I think just a little dip in, have a chat, see what's happening. I've got stuff to do, unfortunately, so. I will say to everybody in the chat, especially and Cruel Birab, cheers for popping in. Appreciate the interaction. Matt Pott or Potty. Cheers, pal.
Cheers. Thank you.
May I call you Potty?
Yes.
I wouldn't let him if I was you.
Because
As long as it's
to
not
me,
Potsy,
your
I hate that. I hate that.
your
Don't call me
Pots to me.
Potsy, all right?
I just want to call you Pots. Is Pots okay?
No, not really.
So, right, okay.
How about
Bad enough
Matty?
it's Potty, believe me.
What about Sir? Sir?
No, only girls call me that.
What about Matty? Matty.
Yeah, that's what I said. Only girls
Matty
call me that.
Matty Potty.
Matty.
Cheers for coming on, Matt.
Yeah,
really
cheers.
great to have
Thank
you on.
you.
Yeah, love the energy.
I know.
Cheers, pal.
No worries. Anytime. Mr. Brown. Anytime.
Cheers, my friend. Mega Geek Papa.
Yep.
Cheers, pal.
No worries. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, so everybody in the chat, everybody watching this on catch up, just kind of a short one today, guys. Appreciate you popping in. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, press buttons, etc., etc. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.